thinned by so many years since. I'd given up ever trying to uncurtain my mother. Now her pages begin her. I have to spill over, upward from her held pen. At last she is back again. Aluminum and Arizona in their wartime tryst produced Alzona Park, the Defense Workers' Housing Project, which had been feeling my shovel ever since my parents and I lit there. I knew with the full mania of a 5-year-old that the project's barren backyards necessitated my toy truck roads for strafing, bombing. World War II had a lot of destruction to be played at yet. I was lonesome for my foxhole, though. By a turn of events you couldn't foresee in desert warfare, it had been put out of service by rain, my mother making me fill the dirt back into the brimming crater lest somebody underestimate it as a puddle and go in up to the neck. Spies, saboteurs, the kind of subversive traffic you get in backyards seemed to me to deserve precisely such a ducking, but my mother stood firm on foxholelessness. I suppose she hadn't mind our standing with our Alzonan barracks neighbors who, if she'd just trust my reports, all the more justified a foxhole. Hunker in there, peeking over the earth rim, and see what they turned into. Housewife snipers in the 200 building to be fended off with a pretend rifle. The long 300 building, a sudden Japanese battleship. The foxhole now needing to be a gun battery on the destroyer USS Alt, blazing away at those fiends threatening our aircraft carriers, holding them at bay until down in the torpedo room, Wally. February 17th, 1986. 4 fingers of flame thrust toward the snow fields of Mount Baldy and extinguish into echo. Stiffly working their rifle bolts to reload, the veterans of foreign wars honor guard aims and lets fire again. The combined muzzle flash flexing bright another instant. Then a last volley, and the honor guard dissolves into World War II oldsters, clutching at their campaign caps in the cemetery wind. Ceremonially, Wally Ringer's chapter of life was over that wind-ridden afternoon, but in the family plot of time, not nearly done with. Can this be what that brother of my mother had in mind with the letters, sensing the carrying power of ink as a way to go on? By making me heir to the lost side of my past, to my mother's own communiques of time and place, doing to her what they did, he would find a kind of lastingness too? At the moment, I only knew I was the most grudging of pallbearers, gritting against the shiver, more than wind-borne, of having come back where I'd promised myself not to where all the compartments of my earliest self rode together on me, nephew, son, grandson, native of this valley, economic refugee from it, ranch kid, town nomad, only child awash in family attention, indrawn half-orphan. Chambered as a goddamn nautilus. 3 times before, I watched a saga of my family echo into the earth here, and in the glide of years since, convinced myself I was safely done with Montana burials. Those earliest voices of the heart held no more to tell, I'd thought. Wally's in particular I no longer gave ear to, even though for most of my life, most of his, as we were only 15 years apart in age, he was that perfect conspirator, a favorite uncle. That extracurricular relative we need, some close but not immediate live wire in whom the family blood always hums, never drones. As pushful through life as the canyon snowplow he piloted over black ice, bull-chested, supremely bald, with the inveterate overbite grin of my mother's people, which brought the top teeth happily out on parade with the rest of him. As he'd have said it himself, quite the Wally. Here at his funeral were his first and third wives, both in utmost tears, and his second wife sent bereaved regrets from New Mexico. In my own remembering, he bursts home with that whopping grin on him, ever ready to fetch the boy, me, off to a trouty creek or up into the grass parks of the Castle Mountains to sight deer or elk, or to an away game of football or basketball.